This is a serious question. The godmother of your daughter, Shirley MacLaine, writes in her new book that you sighted a UFO over her home in Washington State, that you found the encounter extremely moving, that it was a triangular craft, silent and hovering, that if you felt a connection to your heart and heard directions in your mind. Now, did you see a UFO?
I did, and the rest of the account. Oh, I didn't. It was unidentified flying object. Okay, it's unidentified. I saw something. Now, to answer your question, I'm moving and I'm also going to move my campaign office to Roswell, New Mexico, and another one in Exeter, New Hampshire. Okay, and also you have to keep in mind that Jimmy Carter saw a UFO, and also that more people in this country have seen UFOs and I think approve of George Bush's presidency.
Actually,
and so wait, we're just getting started here.
No. I mean, so, we have about 14% of Americans say they have seen UFOs. I'm going to move.
What was the percentage?
14%.
What was that percentage?
14.
Yeah. So they just hit Dennis Kucinich with that just to humiliate him, and it was just like, of all the things to ask him about on TV. The fact that his ex-wife, who he's divorced from, claims in a book that she wrote that he and her saw a UFO together. I mean, of all the questions to ask him, that was pretty clear. It's just what they did, same as what they did to Tulsi Gabbard, the same as what they do. I mean, it's the MSNBC, someone called it MSDNC. And they're exactly right? And they just hit him with this UFO issue. And it's like, and he said, well, look, I didn't know what it was. And, it just shows you how biased media can be. But here's the icing on the cake. And this is where it gets great. So you remember Barack Obama took office. Barack Obama got elected. And Barack Obama, it was this new Bush, the Bush years were over and Obama was elected and he was going to restart America's relations. About 2 years into the Obama presidency, the U.S. media hit us with this piece of crap. This piece of crap hit American media. And it was everywhere. This was everywhere. It was on The Daily Show. This was on CNN. This was on MSNBC. This was on Fox. You could not escape this. I didn't even watch much TV at the time, and I knew about this. U.S. media, 2011, around the same time Occupy Wall Street happened, 2011, U.S. media just decided they had to unload this piece of crap on us. And I found a version of it we can show.
Now at 9, a new book is generating a ton of talk this morning. It says that was no UFO that crashed into Roswell, New Mexico back in 1947. Instead, the book claims it was a Soviet spy plane that came down in a storm, and it was filled with genetically engineered child-sized pilots. The book Area 51 claims Joseph Stalin was hoping the crash would set off a widespread panic in America. He apparently got the idea from Orson Welles' radio broadcast War of the Worlds. Now at 9, what do you think about this book's theory?
I was right. I have to go back to what you said. I was right in there with the theory till we got to the child-sized pilot aliens.
Right, exactly.
And then everything kind of gets a little fishy.
Yeah, it's one of those things, though. I mean, both theories are so...
Anyway, yes. In 2011, there was a huge public media blitz informing us that there's this new book that's been written, that shows that the UFOs were actually from Stalin. And it was so unbelievably stupid, but it was all over U.S. media that the UFOs actually came from Stalin. And this woman named Annie Jacobson, I'm going to pull up her, Annie Jacobson is the writer, right? And that she wrote this book, Area 51, An Uncensored History of America. And they, like all the mainstream media, I am convinced this book, this was like some CIA, this is some kind of psyop, because this book was everywhere. You could not escape this. It was just all over American media. And the story was, and I'll just read you, this is what Wikipedia, their summary of the book. The book based on interviews with scientists and engineers who worked at Area 51, addresses the Roswell UFO incident and dismisses the alien story. Instead, it suggests that Joseph Mengele, the Nazi, the evil Nazi, experimenter, was recruited by Soviet leader Joseph Stalin. What? That Stalin recruited Joseph Mengele. What? To produce grotesque, child-sized aviators to be remotely piloted and landed in America to cause hysteria in the likeness of Orson Welles' 1938 radio drama, The War of the Worlds. Yes. So what happened was one day evil Stalin was sitting in the Kremlin, and he was sitting there going, "Mwahaha, mwahaha, how can I make the Americans panic? Mwahaha. Well, I know in 1938 there was a radio show in America called War of the Worlds, and America panicked because they thought aliens were coming. So I shall take a bunch of midgets, and I shall put them in a flying saucer, yes? And I shall fly it into America. And Americans will panic because they will see that it is actually real." It is the dumbest theory I have ever heard. And this was all over mainstream media. All over mainstream media, they informed us that Area 51, there's this new book. I mean, and it couldn't possibly be wrong. That it says that actually, the little green men were midgets that were genetically engineered by Nazi scientist Joseph Mengele, who was recruited by Stalin and flown into the United States and painted green to look like little green men from the War of the Worlds. And it was all a conspiracy by Stalin. UFOs are all a big conspiracy by Stalin. That's what we were told. And the U.S. media, they just rolled this out there, and it was just like everywhere. It's like, haven't you heard? This, and it was the dumbest thing I'd ever heard. I sat there, and it was just like, seriously? Like, is this for real? Like they're really trying to tell us this? Like that, and there's a lot of people who looked into this book and said this book is crap, right? Space historian Dwayne Day called Area 51 a poorly researched, poorly sourced, error-filled book that makes arguments that defy common sense and is reliant on only one anonymous source. Yeah, it's one anonymous source. And if you look at the author, Annie Jacobsen, right? What does Annie Jacobsen do? Well, she's a Pulitzer Prize finalist, right? And she produces television, Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan for Amazon Studios and Clarice for CBS News. And, she's written for the New York Times, and she was a contributing editor to the Los Angeles Times. And, she wrote a 2014 book called Operation Paperclip, the secret intelligence program that brought Nazis to America. And I wonder who would have given her declassified information for that. Oh, she wrote another one, The Pentagon's Brain, an uncensored history of DARPA, America's top secret military research agency. Yeah. It seems pretty clear that for whatever reason, it looks like it was some kind of intelligence psyop. Annie Jacobsen got assigned to tell America that UFOs actually were midgets that were genetically engineered by Stalin, who was working with Nazis. I mean, this is like, it's the dumbest thing. Yeah. She's got friends on the inside, as they say, and they assigned her to write this piece of crap book, and they made sure this piece of crap book was everywhere. You could not open a newspaper or turn on the TV for like 2 weeks without hearing Annie Jacobsen explaining that, that Stalin flew midgets to cause panic into America. It's unbelievable.